Welcome to our Savvy series. I'm Catherine Magana here with Rachel Ivanovich. And if you'd like to contact us for a complimentary phone call or session, you can reach us at 760-692-5190. And today we're going to continue the conversation. We've been having a lot of conversations recently about retirement. We've been doing some live events and workshops. And so as we're kind of doing more research and meeting with clients, we wanted to share some more resources and topics for you. So today we're going to focus on one of the mistakes that women make is the lack of financial confidence in education. And studies have shown that women tend to be less confident about financial matters compared to men. And there was a B of A study that I came across that said that 94% of women believe that they'll personally be responsible for their finances at some point in their lives. And some other key findings that I found was actually women feel okay about some of the future healthcare costs, but when it comes to funding for their grandkids' education or taking care of any aging parents, that's where, obviously there's some concerns. And those are some things from a planning perspective you have to look at. Is that a priority for you and your family or not? But it's interesting. I think there's a lot of resources. We're big advocates for helping women learn about money and investing. And
absolutely,
one of the reasons why we do a lot of our events.
And what we've really found that's interesting is that what we're finding is that men and women and boys and girls are receiving different messages about money as they grow up. And oftentimes, men are really empowered to invest and learn how to invest, and women are told to save. Mm-hmm. And so there's a big difference really between saving your money and investing your money. And so we find it really important for you to become financially literate. And, what does it mean? What's the difference between savings and investing? What is compound interest versus simple interest? And how can that help you become more savvy with your money?
And then also savings. I mean, once again, are you saving for an emergency fund? Or, obviously you want to have some money set aside. Usually it's 3 to 6 months of your income set aside for emergencies. But then on top of that, then yes, you want your money working for you. And it's interesting because there's a lot of times when we meet with our clients, men and women, it just seems like I have to have this much money set aside in the bank, and it's, but you don't need that much. And so it's just that comfort zone, and everybody's a little different on, where their threshold is.
Well, and I think clients ask us, what's a good place to store that emergency fund? Yeah. And so typically a high yield savings account,
mm-hmm. Or money market, or there's some short-term CDs. It just depends on kind of what it is.
And one of the reasons that you want to do this is you can earn interest while keeping your money liquid in case you need it for that emergency. Maybe you need new tires, or you have a medical bill that you weren't planning for.
So we had a client that came to some of our workshops. We did the Savvy Woman Invest on Purpose workshop. And she, at the time, didn't really, she kind of was still working, saving a little bit. But then all of a sudden she ended up inheriting some money. Actually, her mom and dad both passed away within a week of each other, which is kind of interesting because you hear about it. And it's like the story of the passion and love. And so she ended up coming back to us because after the workshop she remembered. And so we ended up meeting with her multiple times and really educating and teaching her about, with this amount of money now, what does her life look like in the future? And she was really good. I mean, we did the budgeting, we did the savings, we did the investments, and she didn't overspend sometimes. And if you get a lump sum of money, sometimes you get this, I want a new car, I want to buy this. And
new wardrobe.
Yes, and so she was really mindful and really wanted to make sure that she was diligent with kind of looking, about her future and didn't do, she did little things but not major. And she does have a plan that works. But once again, it was, when we first started meeting with her and educating her, she wasn't at a place where she was ready, and then here we are, now she has that opportunity to work with us a little closely. And so we do a lot of different events. We have our webinars and live events. We're actually going to be doing another Retirement by Design.
I'm excited for it.
Yeah, coming up again. We're going to do that again this month. And then we're going to go back and do our Savvy Woman Invest on Purpose workshop. And once again, we do these weekly.
And Becoming a Seriously Savvy Woman.
Yes, and that one's more of a Money Management 101, where we kind of talk a little bit more about investing and risk and kind of a little bit more of the nuts and bolts.
And maybe you're not at the point where you can start saving for that emergency fund because you need to get out of debt. And so I think it's really important if that's where you are to start, the first step to pay yourself first is, pay down that debt and then start building the emergency fund. And one of the strategies is the debt snowball. And so you look at all of the different, maybe you have a couple of credit cards, start with the one with the lowest balance and get the momentum, pay it down, and then move on to the next one and pay that one down too.
And so I think part of becoming financially literate is really looking at, it's everything. I mean, it's kind of, and then
Absolutely.
slowly looking, it doesn't mean you have to know everything all at once, but it's kind of like, okay, what am I going to look at this month, or what am I focusing on? Yes, we want to look at the budgeting. You want to look at your credit, and then obviously, do you have life insurance, or do you, once again, like we started, is it important for you to care for your aging parents, or are they covered?
Exactly.
And kind of factoring in, different things that come up in the whole financial realm. There's also some things that come up are, having the conversations about money and discussions about money. I think what we find is when we meet a lot of the women that come to our workshops is sometimes they say, we never talked about
taboo.
money. Yeah.
Money was a taboo subject.
Yeah, or
and
growing
like I
up
was
and-
saying, with girls and boys, it's talk about money. Find a mentor who will teach you, and will have those conversations so that you can plan for your future.
Or even, and it could be investing, it could be your salary, it could be, what concerns you or what excites you about money. I think being open about these conversations, and I think that's one of the reasons why, once again, we do our live workshops,
I
we
think
have
that's
those conversations and we open up the door to.
I think that's a really good point that you brought up salaries, Catherine, because it seems that there is unfortunately still a gender wage gap, and it's really important for you to know your worth and to talk to maybe your colleagues. It used to be a taboo subject, but I believe it's becoming less of a taboo subject to talk about salary. But really start by researching the salaries in your field when you go in to ask for a raise, and really do your research and find out, what is the range for the salary for my position or for the job that you're looking for, and then not just what is my salary going to be, but what are the benefits, health insurance, dental insurance, vision, retirement plan, because oftentimes an employer will have a match, and you want to make sure you're taking advantage of that as part of your total compensation package. And so educate yourself. Yeah. Find out what your employer or what a potential employer could offer that really will help benefit you.
And then as another added thing to think about is if you are asking for a raise or a change in compensation, then also reflecting on what's the value you're bringing to the table. Yes. And how are you adding value to the company? Because I think being able to really share, the benefits they have, that you bring, that and also tie into your compensation.
Yeah, and one of the questions that I get a lot of times from clients is, so how can I save money on taxes? I have a good salary, but I feel like I'm getting killed in taxes. And so one of the things, unfortunately, if you're salaried employee, there aren't a lot of tax strategies other than make sure you're looking at all of the benefits that your employer offers. Make sure you're taking advantage of the salary deferrals, the employer match. If there's a dependent care benefits, if you have children, you can take $5,000 of your salary and make sure you put that into kind of a savings account. You can use that money to pay for childcare. It's not taxed, so you have $5,000 tax-free. If there's a flexible spending account that your employer offers, or health savings account, there's so many options that your employer potentially offers. And if your employer doesn't, maybe ask, could we maybe implement this?
Or can you look into this for us? Because
Yes.
this is a benefit that we would like. And I think there's, like you said, there's a lot of benefits I think get overlooked.
Yes.
And I think it is important to really dive in and say, okay, what do I have access to? And then how does it help you from the tax perspective?
Educate yourself.
Yes. And then tapping into your trusted resources, obviously working with professionals like ourselves. You also have tax professionals and estate planning professionals and Medicare and professionals. There's a lot of different resources out there.
And honestly, it's not something that most of us want to think about, but make sure that you do have a valid will and a trust if you have assets, and especially if you own a home.
Yeah. And if you don't have a trust in place, making sure your assets are titled properly, because obviously you want to try to avoid probate if you can. Great. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
That was a lot today.
Yes. So we'll continue the conversation on retirement, and we're really excited about the Retirement by Design coming up. That's coming up on March 28th. I think we're going to be doing, at noon. We're going to have a lunch time get together this time. So thanks for joining us, and savvy up. Please stay tuned for important regulatory disclosures.
Savvy Women Wealth Management is an SEC registered investment advisor. The opinions expressed in this program are for general informational purposes only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual or on any specific security. It is only intended to provide education about the financial industry and how we may be able to assist. To determine which investments may be appropriate for you, consult your financial advisor prior to investing. Any past performance discussed during this program is no guarantee of future results. As always, please remember investing involves risk and possible loss of principal capital. Tax considerations presented may not be appropriate for every individual circumstance. A tax professional should be consulted before making any decisions about your tax liability.